Thursday night football, we made it, my friends. Finally, we get Tampa at the Eagles tonight. Could be electric, maybe for fantasy purposes. We hope so, at least, no matter what we're going to be playing, because we all enjoy the hobby aspect of all things DFS, and that's what this show is for. So we do a lot of studying. We look at all the winners over the past previous weeks, different slates, showdown slates, all that. And then we try to test out some theories, and then we focus on the main slate or the showdown slate that we have on any given stream. Now, today, we got the Thursday night football stream, and we're going to focus on that primarily. We've done enough rewind and lineup study this week. I'm actually looking at the slate thinking to myself, I think we need to make sure we put extra time into tonight. I think it's going to be a difficult slate. There are a lot of different players you can use in the captain spot, a lot of great options across the rest of your lineup. We have an injury or two we need to focus on. So let's dive right in. I'm going to bring that up on the stream right now and right on screen for everybody over there on YouTube. If you're watching today, just do me a huge favor. Hit the like button. Hit the subscription button. It's totally free to do so. We have, I believe, 6 streams per week, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern every single day. You'll find me right here doing all things lineup study, lineup rewind, and doing all of the Team RiseOrFall projections and ratings and everything right into Fantasy Cruncher. And I show people how to use it. And I want people to feel confident in using FC. And why? Well, every single one of our members, they pay $29 a month. They actually get $20 to use on Fantasy Cruncher. So it's a nice hookup for anybody who wants to use FC. Anybody who's one of our members, you get $240 there annually if you stick around. And our goal is to make sure that whether you're using our stuff or their stuff or everything in conjunction with one another, that you have every possible answered or question answered through this stream and through all of our content on our site. So thank you very much to FC for sponsoring. And thank you to anybody watching the stream that just, even if you're not a member or anything, just hitting that like button. And that shoots us up the SEO rankings on YouTube and all that good stuff. And it supports free content. So if you like free stuff and you want more free stuff, just hit the like button. That's helpful. Now let's dive into it. So we've got a great looking slate here. Tampa, 7-point road favorites. You don't often see that, but I think it's warranted in this spot. I truly do. Eagles going the opposite direction than Tampa. Tampa, we all knew what was going to happen last week. We were talking about it all week. We knew it was a bounce back spot against Miami. Another team going in the opposite direction. Tampa coming off a tough loss in week 4. Went out there and just trounced Miami in week 5, scoring 45 points. Now we've got another matchup here where they have a healthy implied team total of 29.75 points against the Eagles at 22.75. I do like the Eagles almost just as much as a lot of the Tampa players tonight, though. And while their implied total might be 7 less points, 7 fewer points than the Tampa side, they have fantasy funneled production. What I mean by that is there are only a few players on their team that are actually garnering your attention weekly and scoring all the points for the team. So while their team might not score 35, 40 points as an offense, they can still have the same amount of fantasy points in fewer targets. Now, a team like Tampa, many more fantasy points total, but they have a lot more mouths to feed. We're going to have so many different targets we're going to be focusing on today that it's actually potentially a little bit harder to figure out who you want to use on the Tampa side. So chat, while we're going today, by all means, you guys can fire off your questions, but you can tell right now I am in the zone. I'm focused. I'm ready to just go, go, go. And I think that's going to be the pace of today's show. So the best thing for you to do is make sure you subscribe to the channel, come back, watch the show a little bit later. There's a free video already on the slate for tonight, broken down by player analysis, which is a little bit more of Chris Robbins' style. And my style right here is more so like tournament theory, how to build the actual lineups, not as much as the analysis. They're both important factors. Knowing the players you're supposed to use is step 1. Knowing how to use them, which I'm doing here, step 2. And I think you use them in conjunction with one another. I'm also going to have a video here, which I will try to create after this stream. And if I can't get to it today, I promise I'll get to it tomorrow. It's going to be week 6 best bets. It's going to be a betting video. It's going to be the first one I've done for Sparry the entire season. And that's because we posted that tweet today, 61 and 33 graded bets this year. It's been pretty nuts to see. So a lot of potential there. And, you know, I thought to myself, now I feel like I have a large enough sample size where I feel comfortable being like, hey, you guys should maybe check out this 10,000 simulations model. It's actually pretty good. I didn't feel confident until right about now because I wanted a healthy base of sample size. I don't want to be some like slick Rick out there trying to, sell you a 10,000 sims model for all things betting when it had like 40 bets or something silly, right? Like that's not a big enough sample size. Anybody can look good during that, but now we're talking, around 100 bets or so. So it makes sense. I love that to be over 1,000 someday and really feel better about it. But we'll be creating that video. I'll do that later today. So if you hit the sub button, you'll be back to that either today or tomorrow, and you'll see that tomorrow morning if it is live. Now, let's dive in for the DFS slate itself. What are you going to do here? You have all these players, and I think they're all viable. Truly, I think every single one of these people are viable tonight. Brady, Hurts, Evans, Godwin, Devonta, Antonio, and Leonard Fournette. I think what you're going to need to do, whether you're hand building on your phone, hiding from your family, pretending like your IBS is flared up 15 minutes before lock, or you're sitting down, you're doing this in the middle of the day before pre-lock later today on FC, you're going to want to make lineup building groups. Now, what I mean by that is this: whomever your captain is for that slate, you're going to want to make sure that you have certain scenarios coming to fruition throughout the rest of your lineup, depending on who the captain is in that lineup. Meaning, if you build a lineup tonight and you're on your cell phone and you have Antonio Brown plugged in as your captain, you're likely going to want to make sure that Tom Brady is also included in your lineup in the flex spot. You've inherently said Antonio Brown's going to have a big day, big enough to be the best play at the captain spot. How did he do that? Probably over 100 yards, maybe 2 touchdowns. And if he has 2 touchdowns or over 100-something yards and a bunch of receptions, Tom Brady also has all of those yards and potentially, of course, all of those touchdowns as well. So if Tom Brady throws 350 and 3 touchdowns, but Antonio Brown catches 2 of them, and then maybe Mike Evans and Chris Godwin don't have any, and the third goes to Fournette or Giovanni Bernard or one of the backup tight ends, Cameron Brate or O.J. Howard, well, then what the heck? I mean, Antonio Brown's the only wide receiver worth using. You'll have had him in the captain spot. You'll have had Tom Brady in the flex spot. And you potentially could even look at just saying, you know what, if this all happens and Antonio Brown's the captain, Tom Brady's also in flex, Jalen Hurts is going to be running for his life. They're playing from behind. They're trying to catch up and make sure that this game stays competitive, in which case he drops back 40 times, tucks the ball and runs 10 times, chucks it the other 30 down the field, hopefully to Devonta Smith, Jalen Reagor, guys like that. So let's go ahead, and we're going to keep this as our only captains we want to use. I'm not too concerned about players like Miles Sanders, the kickers, the defenses, the Jalen Reagors of the world. And so I'll take just the guys with the highest projections, the highest ceilings, and I'm going to go ahead. And there's one guy I actually really, really like tonight. It's Miles Sanders, but I just don't feel good about putting him in the captain spot. He's had games where he's had a bunch of receptions and a bunch of targets, which I think he will tonight as well. The league low amount of yards given up by opposing defenses to running backs is by Tampa, 45 yards per game rushing on the ground. They still give up a healthy amount of points to opposing wide running backs, because opposing running backs, they catch the football out of the backfield like, whoa. So Miles Sanders potentially gets 6, 7, 8 targets tonight, but is he going to get the rushing yards and increase that scoring ceiling? I don't think so. I think, in fact, he might lose 4 or 5 carries, 6, 7 carries, whatever it is, and those might become receiving options, but it doesn't increase his touch total, and I don't think his scoring total goes any higher than what it normally is, because the equity from his rushing yards, which just slid over to his receiving opportunity. So I like him in flex. I'll certainly be using him in flex, but he's not my captain. So because I said that tonight, be on the lookout for a 200-yard game, 10 catches, and 3 touchdowns from Miles Sanders, and somebody who uses him wins $1 million by themselves, doesn't tie anybody else. And I'm sitting here sad, crying myself to sleep because I had 0 shares of Miles Sanders. So you know how that works, man. If you say it, it always goes the opposite way. And I threw it out there. And of course, be on the lookout. So if you're like, Mitch, he just ruined everybody by saying that, so I'm going to use Miles Sanders tonight, I don't blame you whatsoever. But I'm rolling with this group. And my goal on this stream each and every time I am live is to just tell you what I'm doing, not to tell you what you should do. You're in charge of your money. You're in charge of your investment and your play style. And if you don't like what I'm doing, by all means, go with your gut. Go with whatever leads you to victory. If you're winning a lot of money without me, by all means, use this as a puzzle piece, but it doesn't need to be your entire puzzle. You're gathering your puzzle pieces. You'll put it together as you go. I have faith in you. So let's go ahead. We'll fill out the rest of our player pool. We'll look at our captain spots. I want to talk about my exposure setting for tonight. I'm going to cap my captain spot, believe it or not. And then I'm going to show you how I build my lineup building groups. I'm going to slide over to quarterback. Of course, Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts. They are both in. I'm using them both. Leonard Fournette, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell. I want really nothing to do with Giovanni Bernard because his price tag is up to 5.2. However, I'm telling you right now, you're going to need him tonight when you put together your lineups, because sometimes you're going to need a little bit of that salary relief. And one other thing I really like, a lot of people are going to look for that discount play tonight. They're going to go to Kenneth Gainwell. Giovanni Bernard, single-digit ownership tonight, I would imagine. I'm using him. Now you've got, by the way, Ronald Jones is not going to make it into my player pool tonight. I know he has touchdown equity here and there, but I am just going to be investing most of my exposure on players that will get the most playing time. I'm trying to accrue as many points as I can, and I don't need to dig that deep, I think, tonight. Honestly, I'm just trying to put the best lineups together and hope the rest breaks itself out on its own. I'm going to be using Quez all the way up to Chris Godwin. Every single one of them is a viable option. Quez Watkins, he missed a very nice downfield target last week, and he replaced Greg Ward in the slot. Greg Ward dropped a touchdown, I believe, last week. He didn't do himself any favors, and I think tonight, because of this, I saw something today about Dallas Goedert. Okay, he got placed on the COVID list. That means he's not in tonight. Zach Ertz at 3.2K, going to be one of the higher-owned players on the entire slate. I'm just telling you that now. He's the salary relief we all need, and to be honest, my friends, I am okay eating that chalk. I really am. We've seen these tight ends. If you put these players together and you look at the amount of targets they're having weekly, 9 together in week 5. If we look at, I'll go week by week. Week 4, they had 13 together. In week 3, they had 11 targets together. Week 2 and week 1, let me do the quick math, 2 and 2. In weeks 2, they had 4. And week 1, they had 7. So we're talking 7, 4, 11, 13, and 9 targets. Probably equates to 35-40% of all targets go to the tight ends. By the way, we saw Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell garnering 6 to 7 targets per game. We are now talking about 50% of all targets from Jalen Hurts going to the running backs or the tight ends. You don't really need to be targeting the wide receivers outside of Devonta Smith in this game tonight, which allows you to probably use the higher ceiling players like Antonio, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, and then go ahead and just take the discount pricing on players like Miles Sanders, on Zach Ertz, and Kenneth Gainwell, the running backs and the tight ends. And I believe in years past, and he's not there anymore, I'm intrigued to see, I can't remember who it was, Rodgers, maybe it was a backup tight end for Philly. I'm guessing Jack Stoll is the guy tonight. So Richard Rodgers, yes, who did I say? But it's Richard Rodgers. I think it was that. Anyway, so I think, listen, what if Jack Stoll slides in there tonight and gets the targets that the second tight end was usually getting? 2, 7, 8, 6 from Zach Ertz. So Jack Stoll at $200 needs to be on your radar tonight. I am probably going to boost his projections a little bit. And then what I'll do is I'll do like a 15% cap, give him like 5-point projection or something, and you'll end up with whatever your maximum exposure is on him. So I am going to do something like that. Jack Stoll belongs there. All he has to do is catch a touchdown at $200. He'll have to be in your lineup if you plan on winning serious money tonight. And you'll also set yourself aside and have an opportunity to potentially win something without, chopping it up with 80 different lineups. Kickers, I don't like using kickers in Showdown. They just don't have the ceiling off the need. And I keep saying their their price tags, they just keep rising. 4.4 and 4.2K. Again, give me Jalen Reagor at virtually the same price, and I'm hoping for a 17-point game. Not really showing a ceiling outside of that, but I'm okay risking it. Quez Watkins, same thing, 16-point game. If there's no Dallas Goedert, what if he really just takes over tonight? Same with the running backs. Are you using a kicker over Kenneth Gainwell at 2.4K? Well, Gainwell has scored 12, 7, 20 points, and you have Giovanni Bernard, who has been healthy basically for 2 full games this year, 20 and 11 in both of those games. These guys just have higher ceilings. And again, Zach Ertz, who I think has probably 6 to 8 targets coming. The kickers, you're going to want to play them, keep them in your player pool, but you're probably going to want to cap them a little bit tonight. I just don't think they have exactly what you need. Now, the defense is 2.8K for the Eagles. I'm not really there. You don't see, Tom Brady Buccaneers giving up any sacks, fumbles, picks, things like that. They just don't. So the Eagles really are not going to have an opportunity to rack up many defensive statistics. The Bucks should have plenty of opportunity on the other hand. Same thing here. You're probably going to need to jack up the projections a little bit and then just cap them at some type of amount, maybe 20%, so that you can cap them like that. Now, I'm going over to the captain spot. I'm going to click on my pool only because I've got the rest of my player pool. I'm going to do something like this where I am looking at this and just saying, give me 15% cap. That means I'll have exposure to all 7 guys. 7 times 15 is 105%. So I will have anywhere from 15 to probably about 12% down here at the bottom for the rest of my player pool, and we'll go from there. Now, if there are other players you want to cap more or less, like maybe someone like Leonard Fournette you think is not the play over Antonio Brown, you can always individually cap people like this and say Fournette gets that. And I want Antonio Brown taking the other percentage points that were going to Leonard Fournette in the beginning. You could totally do that. You could also say Devonta Smith tonight, maybe without Goddard there, becomes the de facto number one in all ways, shape, or forms between the 20s, downfield targets and all, and get a little bit more exposure to him as well. And then you could also just look at these quarterbacks and say, well, these guys have massive ceilings. I'm going to jam them in at no worry, but their price tags are hefty. Be mindful of that. You still have such a discount on Antonio Brown over Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, even though he's really, truly the number one wide receiver in this offense. I've been saying that all offseason for best ball, and I've been saying it all season. And I said that his price tag after this past week would be like $7,500 on the main slate. Well, here he is on a showdown slate, and he's still a bargain. On the main slate, when we come back in the following week, I bet he's in the 7Ks, and I bet he's higher priced than everybody on this team. So we've got it set up the way we want. I'm going to go to advanced options. Now, this is something you can do, my friends. You can come in here and do this on your own with your cell phones if you want, or you can do it manually, create groups. And your goal here is to say, if Tom Brady is used in the captain spot, you want to make sure that maybe he has 3 players on his team, because you're already saying, oh my goodness, these players, I'm going to type in, watch this. I'm going to type in captain. I'm going to unselect them all real quick. So now I have only the flex spots. So you're saying to yourself, if Tom Brady is in there, you want to make sure Evans, Godwin, Antonio Brown are all included. And you say that you want at least, well, let's just make sure we have at least one. On top of that, you want to go to Antonio Brown, and you're saying you want to boost his projection a little bit by 15%. You are now saying that anytime Tom Brady is a captain, Antonio Brown's projection is going to be increased by 15%. You'll likely end up with a little bit more exposure to Antonio Brown over Mike Evans and Chris Godwin when Tom Brady is your captain. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do the same thing to Jalen Hurts on this side. So when I have Jalen Hurts as my captain, I'll create a new quick group. Jalen Hurts is my captain. When this happens, my friends, I want to make sure that Devonta Smith is there, and I want to make sure that Zach Ertz is there. And you can say you want to make sure that at least one of them shows up. You probably don't even need to touch projections. You could maybe just do this, like a 10% increase on Devonta, something like that. And then by all means, if you want to run it back and say you also want like Antonio Brown or Mike Evans, one of those other guys in there, just put at least 2 or at least 3. And you can just, build your stacks around quarterbacks in the captain spot. Now, the last groups that we want to create here are going to be the wide receiver groups, meaning if Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, or Antonio Brown are my captains tonight, if one of them is a captain, I want to make sure exactly one, and I'm going to plug in Tom Brady, is used. Because again, we've already theorized if a wide receiver is in there, 124 yards and 2 touchdowns like last week, right? That means Tom Brady's floor is 124 yards and 2 touchdowns, in which case he's probably going to be in the nuts lineup in the flex spots. So you're going to want to make sure you have exposure to him in that slate. So you're going to plug that in. And one final one, we'll do the same thing on the other side. If Devonta Smith is my captain tonight, I'm going to make sure that my man, Jalen Hurts, is used. And you could probably even say exactly 2 and have Tom Brady included. If Devonta Smith goes nuclear tonight to the point where he is the best play for the captain spot, it would take a massive game from him. It really would. And if it takes a massive game from him, 140 yards, 8 catches, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, Tom Brady probably threw the ball a ton. Or Leonard Fournette had 3 rushing touchdowns. Something's happened where Tampa was up big. Jalen Hurts had to throw and was efficient for 45 attempts. So you're going to want to make sure that however you theorize Devonta Smith having himself a day, that on the opposite side, you're also reaping the reward. So you could say exactly 2 of the 3, and then you can put in maybe Tom Brady as well, and then Leonard Fournette. And then just to make sure you get a ton of Jalen Hurts, give him 109% increase in his projections, and you'll have Devonta with Jalen, and then one of these 2 will end up being included with Devonta Smith for your captain spot. My friends, I hope you appreciate what I just showed you. That is the next level thing that y'all need to make sure you are doing when you're building your lineups. This is free information. So I'm seeing right now on YouTube, 25 people hit that like button today. Thank you very much. I do appreciate you very much. I hope you come back later for that Sparry video. I hope you check out Chris Robbins' video there. Also, let me show you this one thing. This is really cool. It's one of the coolest opportunities I've ever had. And if you, 45 people, don't mind doing me a massive favor today, this tweet right here has a podcast that I did today with Joe Pisapia. I'm so bad with names. Joe Pisapia from Fantasy Pros, who hosts the Betting Pros podcast, Sports Grid podcast, In This Ring podcast for wrestling, and he does the Fantasy Pros DFS podcast and other things for Fantasy Pro. I mean, he is like everywhere. He is it was honestly one of the best podcasts I've ever been a part of my entire career. I've been doing this for 4.5 years, my friends. And I got done with it. I was like, I need to share everything Joe does, because I've told you for years that everything that I do is to be of value to people. Joe is that guy. He does that. Like, everything this guy does just provides value for others. Most of it is free. So I was like, you know what? I want my followers to know about him. So there you go. So I posted a tweet there. You guys can, like the tweet, whatever you want to do, spread that far and wide, and support two people I think that really focus on a very similar thing. We talked for about 20 minutes before and after the podcast too, just about the industry and about things. And man, him and I really connected on that, providing value for people and just being a value to the industry and to the community, and not worrying about paywall this, paywall that. So anytime I meet anybody like that, I'm going to support them every step of the way. So there we go. I posted it right there. Thank you very much, Flexmo. I see you responding to that as well. So that was fun. I really, really enjoyed that. And man, I'm really fired up today. I feel good. And I feel excited about tonight's slate. I'm going to show you what type of exposures come out if I crunch 150 quick lineups, just so we can look at this. I left it at 100% global cap. I left it on one unique. Let me change this real quick. I need to put max defense in there. Let me redo this one time, and we'll look at the exposures. So remember how I set this up? And I said that if you raise the exposure cap on a couple people, you'll end up with, like, here's the most Devontae, here's the Antonio Brown, then everybody else. Look at the other guys, 15, 15, 15, 8, 7. I feel solid about that. Now go look at the rest. 71% Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts at 57. I love it, actually. Running backs, Leonard Fournette, 47. We already talked about Gainwell. We like them more than Sanders. Look at that, 66%. I love that. Maybe get a little bit more to Gio. Sure. Wide receivers, 33% to Antonio Brown, whom I said I already thought was my favorite option. Devonta Smith, Chris Godwin, the next two, whom I like the most. The least of Jalen Reagor, Kez Watkins, and Mike Evans. I'm okay with that. If you want a little bit more Mike Evans for the touchdown equity, I do not blame you one bit. I'm just planting my flag. Sooner or later, Chris Godwin's going to have that game as well. We have not seen it in 3 games. Tom Brady likes to butter the bread of his main targets, and I certainly think that this could be a week where Chris Godwin at 28% is the play, and he's going to come back, and he's going to be the guy that scores a touchdown for the first time in 3 games, and Mike Evans maybe takes his back seat, or maybe Antonio Brown takes a back seat. Tight end, check it out. All that exposure to Zach Ertz, 15% to Jack Stoll, a little bit to O.J. Howard, and a little bit to Cameron Brate. Now, I'm okay with that. I'm cool with it. A little bit of percentage to both kickers. I'm fine with that as well. And look at the defense, 20% on the Bucks, barely any on the Eagles, even though we have a share or two here. I honestly look at this, and I feel so freaking good about what I just did, my friends. On the first go-round of me setting up all of these things live for you, I'm going to live enter these because I feel so good about these lineups and my exposures. So here we go. I've got all my get out of here. I've got all of my lineups made for today. I did my tiers spot holder yesterday. After our tiers lineup study and lineup rewind stream, and I loved what I did there. So I entered 150 lineups in the mini max. I'm going to try some stuff out tomorrow, and then I'm entering my 150 right now for the slate tonight. So you watch me do that, and that is for the I'll probably enter the mini max. I'm assuming here is probably still open, so I'm going to enter that. Because what the heck, I actually feel so perfect about what I did for tonight's slate. I'm going to do that. We'll have some fun with it, and we'll have a chance to talk about tomorrow. 118,000, 47,000. You know me. I'm going with the smaller one every single time. Enter my lineups, and there we go. I've got my lineups entered. Transparency is everything to me. I will be doing the same thing tonight on Yahoo because I believe the Yahoo Showdown is a lot of fun as well. And let me see what we are working with over there. Pricing-wise for some of these players. Whoa, 40 and 36. Running backs are cheap. Wide receivers are cheap. Tight ends are cheap. So quarterbacks are expensive. That's a tough choice tonight of what to do here at quarterback. I would look at Scrosby's Thursday night showdown breakdown, which will be on the site later today. And I believe Team A is doing a showdown pre-lock stream for y'all as well. So there's going to be a lot of content that's both going to be on the site. Make sure you grab those private links, get the updated projections and everything from CG on the study hub and through the projections page. Again, by all means, come back, watch the Sparry video. I'm going to be doing I'm going to show the model today. All right. I'm going to show the model because if you're anybody who believes sports betting is like a good fun hobby and you're just playing it for fun, then you're my kind of people. I don't play it. I don't sports bet to make money. I just do it for fun. Here is how do I blow this picture up? Boop, 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 boop. Here is the model so far. All graded bets are 61 and 33 on the season, 64.9% win rate and plus 32.4 units. So I'm going to show a video on how I use it and even talk about different ways to use it for DFS as well, because I think there are some crossovers. And my friends, thank you so much for today, supporting the stream. And I hope to see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock back here, same time, same place. Hit that sub button on your way out, hit that like button, and hopefully you dive in. You join us today. Description link down below for teamriseorfall.com. And get hooked up with your FC stuff, and we'll help you out, support you in our Discord. And FC community, truly, you don't even have to join us. We're happy to support you in Discord. We honestly just want good people using good things, good quality content, and we want to support companies and people that are producing it. And then we want to support the users who are doing that, because that's our thing. All right. We don't even care if you're a member of us. We'd love for you to want to sign up, for an extra $9.99 a month for teamriseorfall.com. But honestly, our goal is to just support people who are using good things, because honestly, we're in this together. This is a massive industry, tons of money on the line, tons of money in play. And if we can provide any type of support, base for people learning to play DFS, people trying to improve their DFS game, that's what we're here for. Hope to see you on the inside. I'll certainly see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Y'all have a good day. Take care. And fortune favors the bold, baby.